Carl, everybody out there knows that data protection is very important. And there's all kinds of data brokers out there. They get your name, contact info, social security, home address. They compile the data and then they sell it. Everyone on the web can buy your private details. We all get these random spam calls. I'm getting one right now as we speak. They must be hearing me. Delete Me makes it easy, quick, and safe to remove your personal data online at a time when surveillance and data breaches are common enough to make everyone else vulnerable. If you haven't, you probably know somebody who has. Delete Me is your help. Take control of your data. Keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me now at a special discount for our listeners. Get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/pro. Use the promo code PRO at checkout. The only way to get 20% off is to go to joindeleteme.com/pro. Use the promo code PRO.
It's never too early for Lowe's Black Friday deals. Snag some of our biggest savings of the season right now, like 25% off select pre-lit artificial Christmas trees. And get yourself free select DeWalt, Cobalt, or Craftsman tools when you buy a select battery or combo kit before the Black Friday rush. Because everyone loves free stuff, right? Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 12/3 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Looking for these better days.
It is Football Friday, November 21st. I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's what you need to know to make today a better day. A big win for the Houston Texans last night on Thursday Night Football as they defeat Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills 23-19, sacking him, I think, infinity times.
Yeah, I'm reading it now. It's actually infinity, correct?
Yeah, the logo is, the little sideways 8, the little infinity logo. That's what it says on the box score. Mackenzie Rivers is with me here on this episode of Better Day, presented by FanDuel. And before we get into any football conversation, let me just say this, Mackenzie. If your chair squeaks again during this pod, like it did yesterday,
I'm standing.
You might have to. You're going to have to stand during this pod. That's it. I'm going to revoke your seating privileges if your chair squeaks again.
Chair number 2. I like this chair. I'm high hopes for this chair coming in through for me.
Do me a favor. Just swivel left and right for me real quick.
I heard something.
I heard something. I heard something. Okay. All right. Let's get into the games here on this Football Friday episode of Better Day. And no, the 8 was not sideways for infinity, Mackenzie. The 8 was right side up, because that's how many times Josh Allen got sacked last night. 8 sacks for a loss of a combined 70 yards. This Texans defense, man, they showed up last night. The Bills' offensive line just had no answer for it. And then before a key fourth down, they wind up having a false start because the offensive line's so worried about, the pass rush after 8 sacks that at the end of the game there's a false start. And so instead of 4th and 2 with the game on the line, it's 4th and 7 with the game on the line, and it was incomplete either way. But man, what a performance by the Texans defense last night.
The Texans are underrated, and obviously they're going to be a lot better with C.J. Stroud than Davis Mills, but any way you slice it, they are drastically underrated, kind of shockingly so, looking at some of these metrics that I trust. I mean, if you just look at the schedule, it kind of makes sense they're better than we think. They lost by 1 point to Tampa. They lost 1-possession games to the Rams. That looks better in hindsight in week 1. 1-possession games to the Seahawks, maybe the best 2 teams in the league. And the 1 week they lost C.J. Stroud, they 1 possession easily could have beat the Broncos. So this team is better than their record, and the metrics tell you that. On the season entering Monday, so before this win, they had the 9th best scoring margin. They were 6th by Kevin Cole's adjusted scores. They were 3rd by PFF's noise-canceling scores. They were better than the Bills, arguably, on the season. Of course, no one would say that when you have Davis Mills versus Josh Allen. But looking at all those metrics did not, unfortunately, lead me to a bet with the Texans. But I did stay off the Bills because the numbers say the Texans maybe are a little bit better than we think.
Yeah, the Trench Report said that this was a, quote, moderate edge to the Buffalo Bills, but competitive matchup. And I think that's what we saw last night. And clearly the Bills, it had a significant run blocking edge. Well, James Cook had 17 carries for 116
we had that
yards.
Part right. Yep.
Yeah.
Josh Allen under, Cook over.
Josh,
yep.
Yeah, well, listen, we went we had a couple of props that hit last night. So James Cook, if you would have played that, we talked about it. We didn't put that in the same game parlay, but he went over. Josh Allen did go under. Woody Marks went over. He had 16 carries for 74 yards. Nico Collins had 3 catches for 55 yards, but then he had 0 targets in the second half. And then the Texans team total, well, we predicted them to not score a bunch and only come away with under 18.5. Well, they scored 3 points in the entire second half.
Right.
You know? So if not for, maybe they had a pick 6, right? So if not for that, maybe they do go under the total there. So something to factor in. I mean, I think we were on the right side as far as
if my math is correct, they scored 16 points on offense. Yeah.
Exactly. Their offense scored less than 18.5. So there you have it. But man, we could talk about like I said, the Trench Report had this as an even matchup, and it really was an even matchup here. And I think the Buffalo Bills, their defense is, and people have been saying it for a while. I know I tweeted it out last night, and people responded to me, and they were like, "Have you not watched the Bills game all season?" Like, I have. I just was making the comment last night, and the comment was the Bills defense is a massive liability. And it really is. And it has been all season. It really has been. And you look at this team now, they're 7-4. I'm not going to say that they're not a playoff team. They're too good to not be a playoff team, right? And their record is still fine. But they're losing ground on the Patriots in the division. The Pats are now 2.5 games up in the division because they have the 2-game lead because they're 9-2 over 7-4. But the Patriots won that first game. So those teams will play. They'll play each other in a couple of weeks. But it's still going to be an uphill climb here for the Bills to get over the Patriots in the division. But now you just look at the rest of the AFC, and you think about potential playoff matchups. All right, if the season ended today, the Bills are the 6th seed, right? Now, I'm not saying it's going to stay this way, okay? But if it did stay this way, and you were talking about, all right, well, the Bills have to play the Colts in the playoffs. Do I trust this Bills defense to stop Jonathan Taylor? Do I trust this Bills defense to come up with stops against the Colts? No. Let's say it's the Bills now against the Patriots. We already saw that. The Bills lose that game. Bills against the Jaguars, or we saw them lose here to the Texans. If they play the Chiefs or the Ravens, I don't know if I'm confident over any matchup that the Bills are going to have in the playoffs, and that says a lot from somebody who bet the Bills to win the Super Bowl, who bet the Bills to be the number 1 seed, who bet the Bills to have the best record in the NFL because of how soft we thought this schedule was going to be. For Sean McDermott, a defensive-minded head coach, this has been a pathetic display this season.
It really has. And the Bills were the Super Bowl favorites coming in. They are now 11-1, 8th favorite. Man, looking at the AFC playoff picture, I think the Bills are going to get in. They're the 6th seed. I think the Chiefs are going to get in. They're the 9th seed. I think the Ravens are going to get in. They're the 10th seed. And again, I think the Texans are underrated, so they might be in there. It's going to be very fascinating down the stretch. There's about 10 teams that probably feel like they should make the playoffs.
There's going to be a good team that's going to get left out, and it's going to be of no fault of their own because the record's just not going to be good enough. We're not going to be sitting here going, oh, man, we had an 11-win team that didn't make the playoffs. That's not going to be the case. We're going to be sitting here going, I can't believe the Chiefs didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, I can't believe they're 9 and 8.
Exactly. When they're 9-8, and like, I can't. It's yes, we're going to say I can't believe they didn't make the playoffs, but then again, it's like you went 9-8. You're not going to make the playoffs going 9-8. So you're right. It is going to be fascinating to watch the way this plays out. It is a Football Friday, and so we go through every single game on the schedule for Sunday here in Week 12 of the NFL season. Before we do that, though, as we tie a bow around the Thursday night football game, you mentioned the Buffalo Bills and their odds as far as winning the Super Bowl. Let's look at the Houston Texans' odds to win this division, Mackenzie. Up on FanDuel right now, the Houston Texans in the AFC South are the 3rd favorite at plus 850 behind the Jaguars and the Indianapolis Colts. You look at the standings right now in that AFC South. It is the Colts in first place at 8-2, the Jaguars at 6-4, and the Texans now at 6-5. Can you see Indy dropping 3 more games and having the Texans have an opportunity to leapfrog them?
I do. I think 8 plus 850 is a good bet. I'm seeing 6-1 in other places. But again, I'll say it for the fifth time, a lot of the metrics say the Texans are the most underrated team in football. And when you're mapping out the path, they play the Colts twice.
Yes.
So obviously, you got to get those 2 wins. And I think the Chiefs beat the Colts this week. So Texans also play the Chiefs, but they have games against the Raiders left, against the Cardinals. I think this could get interesting down the stretch. I don't believe in the Jaguars. I think they're fugazi. And I think the Texans could catch up the Colts. I definitely do. At 9-1 almost, it's worth a flyer.
I think so too. And you mentioned the key point. They have 2 games against the Colts. If you win those 2 games, all you're asking Indy to do is just lose 1 more game. And
just lose to Kansas City this week.
Just lose to Kansas City. And now all of a sudden the Texans are in the driver's seat, right? Because if you match the record for the rest, like if the Colts lose this Sunday to the Chiefs, which you and I both think they do, then next week the Texans win that first of the 2 matchups, all right? All of a sudden the Texans are in control. If they match the Colts record going for the rest of the season, and then it goes to that last game of the regular season, which is, by the way, in Houston, Texans might actually be favored to win this division.
I mean, it's worth setting up a position. If it does come to pass where the Texans are -2 or whatever, week 18, I might bet the Colts +2, but I want to have that 850 to start with in my portfolio.
Yeah. All right, let's take a rundown of the Sunday slate of NFL week number 12. And all of these odds are courtesy of our friends over at the FanDuel Sportsbook. We'll start with the New England Patriots at the Cincinnati Bengals, where all of a sudden the Bengals, Mackenzie, +5.5 up on FanDuel.
Now, why would Joe Flacco be favored by only 5.5-point dogs? It makes no sense.
Joe Burrow was a full participant in practice for the second straight day. He took 100% of all the team's reps. I'm floored by this.
I think he's going out there. Seems like it. I don't know why.
I am floored by this. I think he's going to play. I really think he's – now, they haven't even activated him off of IR, but I think he's going to play, and the market is reacting like he's going to play.
And if there's one way to beat the Patriots this season, they can be thrown against. They have a great rush defense, but they have a super easy schedule. They've played no good quarterbacks, essentially, outside of Josh Allen that 1 week. Joe Burrow could upset this team that hasn't lost since week 3. I would not be shocked.
So, yeah, do you think he plays, yes or no?
Yeah. It was a Patriots insider, Perry, I think, said on radio today that he would be shocked if he doesn't play. Of course, I would like to hear that from a Bengals insider more. But no, the line movement, I do not think the market on a Thursday is that dumb. The big money moves the lines on Thursday. It's not the public doing this. I think they're pricing him playing.
Okay, man. We'll see.
What do you think it closes at if he plays? It goes to 5, you think? Joe Burrow's a 5-point dog. Seems like an insult still, but I think that's about where it closes.
I think it closes 4.5.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network said what I said yesterday, is that they're talking about Thanksgiving night against the Ravens.
Yes, and that line is fully built in. The Ravens only 7-point favorites on Thanksgiving.
Yes. Yeah. That's, man, it's going to be interesting to see what happens here over the next day or so. So monitor that situation. All right, let's just talk about that game as if it's Joe Flacco and not Joe Burrow. What do we like about this matchup? What do we think we see in this matchup?
Actually, especially if it's Joe Flacco, I think we see a lot of yards from the Bengals because they're going to be down, likely. They were 8-point dogs when we was sure it was Joe Flacco. And the Patriots' defense has been pretty good on the season, but much worse against the pass than versus the run. So, I mean, we've seen Jacoby Brissett in losing efforts throw up historic numbers. Yeah. We've also seen the same for Joe Flacco. So they don't have the receiver, though. He's suspended due to spitting?
Yeah, Jamar Chase is suspended, yep.
So maybe we look at other wide receivers over or just the quarterback over. I do think it's somewhat of a pass funnel, the Patriots defense.
Okay. As always, keep an eye on the weather there, we're at the time of the season where weather could play a factor in any of these games. There is a chance of rain there in Cincinnati, but as we always like to bring up, it's not the precipitation, it's the wind. and it doesn't look like we're going to have a lot of wind in this game. So nothing really impacting the total, which is at 51.5 right now up on FanDuel. Let's go to the next game.
Oh, yeah, another prop in that game, by the way, which makes sense. Bengals running back Chase Brown under makes a lot of sense, especially if Burrow's back. But even if not, you throw against the Patriots, you don't run against the Patriots, especially if you're losing by 10.
Good point. Let's talk about that game between the Indianapolis Colts and the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs 3.5-point favorites up on FanDuel, total of 49.5. We debated this earlier in the week. The line still doesn't make sense to me. The market is either downgrading Kansas City too much or upgrading Indy too much. And I think that both might be true. I think this is a kitchen sink type game here for the Kansas City Chiefs. Their season's on the line. I expect a really good effort from them here on Sunday. I think this is a Chiefs smash spot, to be honest.
A lot of the metrics I trust say the Chiefs are one of the best teams in football. And I know they're 5-5, and they're 0-5 in close games. And everyone that's been waiting, like Jason McIntyre, to say, I told you the Chiefs are no good. They're having their week. I think that ends this week. Daniel Jones has played 2 games that was kind of out of his comfort zone at Pittsburgh and then in Berlin. And those were 2 of his worst games. I think at Arrowhead in a must-win type environment is yet another echelon that Daniel Jones is not equipped to overcome. So I like the Chiefs here a lot. I think it's very easy to say they haven't been good for 2 years. They're good this year. Yeah. They just haven't won these close games, and that's swaying everybody's opinion too much.
And Daniel Jones was a surprise pop-up on the Colts injury report yesterday. He was listed as a limited participant in their practice because of a calf injury. Built-in excuse for when they lose. Yeah, Daniel Jones.
It was a whole bye week, and now they're like, my calf hurts. He's scared.
Yeah.
He's scared.
Let's move on to our next game, the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Chicago Bears. Currently, the Bears 2.5-point favorites, total of 44.5. Aaron Rodgers did return to practice yesterday for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they say that his playing status is going to be up to him and whether or not he can protect his wrist. It's not about pain tolerance because Rodgers just doesn't care. But this is, to me, it's pretty fascinating to see whether or not we get Aaron Rodgers in this game. And I don't know if it matters. I honestly would prefer that if Rodgers doesn't play, because then the line's going to move and I can get like a full field goal or maybe north of a field goal taking the Steelers as dogs.
Chicago's had an incredibly easy schedule, and even despite that, they are still middle of the pack in offense, way lower than that on defense. I'm not a believer in the Bears. As much as I think the Steelers might be fugazi and I don't like Aaron Rodgers, can't bet on the Bears, can only bet against them.
Now, what has been impressive, though, is that the Bears' offensive line has played really well this season. They rank out as the number 5 in the Trench Report, the number 5 pass blocking unit in the NFL so far, and the number 4 run blocking unit in the NFL. But now you get to go up against a Pittsburgh Steelers defense that is number 2 in pass rush in the Trench Report.
Strength against strength.
Yeah, strength against strength. It's going to be fun to watch. In a matchup like that, I want to take the points. So again, if I can get a 3 with the Steelers, I would. Right now, this feels like a great teaser spot to tease Pittsburgh up from 2.5 to 8.5, and you find your dance partner here for the Pittsburgh Steelers on the teaser. Our next game, the New York Jets at the Baltimore Ravens, and this one didn't move with the Lamar Jackson injury report, missing practice on Wednesday. We talked about that yesterday. This is kind of the market saying, yeah, he did that, last week. We know he's good. The Ravens 13.5-point favorites over the New York Jets, who will be led by Tyrod Taylor at quarterback. Total of 44.5 here in this game, Mackenzie.
I think you upgrade the Jets because of Tyrod Taylor. He hasn't been great, but Justin Fields is about on a 1 yard per throw average the last few weeks. So I think it can only be an upgrade. And I think the Ravens, they've beaten a lot of bad teams, and this is a bad team, but not exactly by margin, not exactly impressive. And really, since the Jets trade, they've been a lot better. It seems like they got rid of some malcontents, and I think they're better for it. So I like it to be a little bit closer than this market says. I would take the 13.5.
So would I. I mean, I'd rather get the 14, to see. Let's see what happens here if the public comes in on the Baltimore Ravens. This is what's going to happen with Lamar the rest of the season. Like, he's going to not practice on Wednesdays for the rest of the season, and then just, that's just what to expect with Lamar moving forward. I want to take the Jets in this spot. I really do. I think Tyrod Taylor is better for this team. I think they'll have more of a passing dynamic to their offense, and I think that we haven't seen, as you mentioned, the Ravens win by margin. Last week was a brutal game against the Cleveland Browns. To come from behind and win, if the Browns had any semblance of an offense, they would have won that game. But their defense, their defense completely kept them in it, and the Ravens pulled it out at the end. I think it's kind of a similar feel. They're going to win this game. They might win this game by 10, but I don't think they win this one by 2 touchdowns. So I lean heavily towards the Jets. Obviously, I'd love to see a 14 pop up here just in case. Let's move on to our next game, the Seattle Seahawks at the Tennessee Titans. Similar spread here, 13.5-point favorites for Seattle on the road against Tennessee up on FanDuel. Let me ask you, Mackenzie, is the gap between the Seahawks and the Titans the same, in your opinion, as the gap between the Ravens and the Jets? Now, I guess it's a little different because the Ravens are at home here. So if you give the Ravens like a 1.5 for home field, I guess they're saying that I guess it's a moot point because they're saying that the Ravens are probably 11.5 points better, 12 points better than the Jets, and this line is saying that the Seahawks are like 15 points better than the Tennessee Titans. So I guess that's a moot point. But the answer to me was going to say like the gap's larger. Yeah. Seattle to Tennessee is a larger gap.
And I think in two directions. I think the Seahawks are definitively better than the Ravens. I would agree with that. I think the Titans are the worst team we've ever seen in football. I've never seen a team 32nd in every single metric going down the line, except for like luck. They're 10th, my aggregate luck metric. They haven't been getting unlucky. They've just been the worst team in football. Last on offense, bottom 5 on defense. This is my survivor pick. I think this is one-way traffic. And one thing I like about it is Sam Darnold has been very consistent against everybody that's not the Los Angeles Rams the last 2 years, everybody that's not like an elite team, and any other time besides like prime time. This is a comfortable situation even on the road to get back in the good graces and maybe restart. I don't know about restart his MVP candidacy, but restart the good positive vibes that the Seahawks have had. Mike McDonald 11-2 straight up in ATS on the road. I think it continues here.
Yeah, looking at the composite power rankings that Sam Hoppen does on Twitter, and taking into account all the the respected power rankings that are out there right now, the Seattle Seahawks number 4 ranked in the NFL at a 5.1 composite, and the Baltimore Ravens 7th actually at 4.5. So this is actually saying that they're a little bit closer than what we think. I don't think so. I think Seattle is actually a lot better. But
they covered last week against the Rams despite losing the turnover battle by 3. I queried this before the show. That's about a 9% chance to cover if that's all you know, that they're going to lose the turnover battle by 3. So they actually had a pretty impressive game in a lot of metrics outside of Sam Darnold's 4 picks last week. I think they're the best team in football in the regular season. In the playoffs, I think Sam Darnold returns it to a pumpkin, but this isn't a playoff game. It's the opposite. It's a preseason game.
Yeah, you see, that's the thing. It's like, yes, I talked about that before. Darnold threw 4 interceptions, and they were still in a position to kick a game-winning field goal. Just unbelievable.
They made one. Stuff. They just called a timeout before it. They made the game-winning kick.
Incredible. All right, the New York Giants are at the Detroit Lions. Lions up on FanDuel, a 10.5-point favorite, total of 49.5. And this is Dan Campbell and Jared Goff after a loss. It's now 13 consecutive straight-up in ATS wins after a loss for Dan Campbell and Jared Goff. Do they make it now 14 straight?
As much as my fear of 13 bothers me, and I hate the fact that it's 13 and not 12 or 14, this is a layup. This is my favorite side of the week. Detroit Lions, 10, 10.5, 20.5. It doesn't matter. There is no quarterback or team or offense that is more Jekyll and Hyde than the Detroit Lions. It's like Sam Darnold in both directions on steroids. Much better when they're good and much worse when they're not good. This is a very comfortable situation against a Giants team that's the worst defense against the run in the NFL. If you look at other teams the Lions have played that are not great or bad against the run, dominated the Bengals, dominated the Commanders, dominated the Ravens, dominated the Bears. Those are the other teams in the bottom 10 of rush defense. Well, nobody's below the Giants. They are 32nd in that metric. Jared Goff is either top 5 in QBR or bottom 5 almost every week. This is a top 5 week. This is a get-right game for Dan Campbell and the Lions.
Jackson Dart was a limited participant in practice, but he still has not been cleared for contact. So I don't think we see Jackson Dart here in this game. And I've said it before, we don't need to see Jackson Dart for the rest of the season. Like, relax, bro. Like, we do not need to see Jackson Dart.
Where's your boy Scattaboo at? Why don't you guys go bowling? We'll catch you later.
I mean, Scattaboo's all over the place. The dude was like at Monday Night Raw. He's all
I think he's hosting SNL this week.
Yeah. Let's move on to the Minnesota Vikings at the Green Bay Packers. Up on FanDuel right now, the Packers 6.5-point favorites, total of 41.5. And it's amazing how like the opinion of the Minnesota Vikings has kind of changed over like the couple of weeks here. You know, when JJ McCarthy was coming back to take over the job in place of Carson Wentz, there was like this sense of optimism around the Vikings. Like, all right, the kid's back. Carson Wentz played poorly and he was hurt. Now we get him back. They win that game against the Lions. Okay, and say what you will about that performance, right? They win that game against the Detroit Lions. They got out-yarded. They won the game.
Yep.
Then they lose 2 consecutive games here to the Ravens and the Bears, and now go to Lambeau, and it feels like nobody wants to back the Minnesota Vikings anymore.
No one wants to back the Vikings. No one also wants to bat the Packers. You remember after week 1, they were like Super Bowl favorites. We were all talking about how they were going to take the league over. They are now 15-1. That is 8th favorite. I mean, both of these teams massively downgraded. It's like you could make an argument against either one. It's a pass for me. I will say, though, some people have talked about this as a survivor pick. I see a lot of variance here with Brian Flores' defense forcing turnovers. And J.J. McCarthy, I don't trust him to have a good game. But that means I do think there's an outside chance he does have a good game. You know, I just don't it's not talking about consistency. He can have a good night one night, and this might be the night.
It could be. Any given night could be the night.
AI agents are everywhere, automating tasks and making decisions at machine speed. But agents make mistakes. Just one rogue agent can do big damage before you even notice. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that helps you monitor agents, set guardrails, and rewind mistakes, so you can unleash agents, not risk. Accelerate your AI transformation at Rubrik.com. That's RUBRIK.com.
Let's get to the afternoon slate. The Cleveland Browns here in Vegas to take on the Raiders. Shedeur Sanders at quarterback for Cleveland. Raiders 3.5-point home favorites, low total of 36.5.
Whew.
It feels like this is a very, very low scoring game because I don't trust either of these offenses. And but as ugly as this sounds, and as much as like I do not care for Shedeur Sanders as a starting quarterback in the NFL, how do you lay the points with the Raiders? How do you not take the Browns here at north of a field goal? This defense with Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel playing terrible at the quarterback position last week almost beat the Baltimore Ravens.
They're winning in the fourth quarter.
Now they're 3.5-point dogs against the Raiders. The Raiders shouldn't be 3.5-point favorites over anybody.
I tend to agree. And I think the total here, I mean, there's not going to be not that many points. It's going to be 14, 17. It's going to be hard to get the hook to go on your side if you're the Raiders. My inclination was to bet the over. And I was interested, though, since 2021, the modern era, if it's a total less than 36.5, there's been 28 of them. 21 of the 28, it's actually gone under. So if you, like me, knee-jerk reaction, it's too low of a total. History says it's not the case. When the total is this low, the market usually knows something.
You think Aiden O'Connell takes over for Geno Smith? He was
not Kenny Pickett.
I mean, Aiden O'Connell was activated off IR, rejoining the team. So,
has Kenny? I mean, I happened to just randomly see this today. I looked up the lowest PFFs, and he's only thrown three passes. But Kenny Pickett has the lowest, for what it's worth, the lowest PFF in football. So maybe they do. Maybe that's why they activated Aiden O'Connell. They need something. Chip Kelly, Pete Carroll, you got like 2 months left in your NFL careers. Do something. Do something crazy.
The Jaguars take on the Cardinals, and Jacksonville, a 2.5-point road favorite here up on FanDuel, total of 47.5. Jacksonville firmly in the mix here in the South. We talked about those odds earlier. You have Arizona, who under Jacoby Brissett is a lot of fun to watch. They put up a ton of points. Their offense is capable of scoring. They'll be without Marvin Harrison Jr. once again, so we should fire up Michael Wilson props like we did last week. That was like one of our best prop bet hits last week, was going over on Michael Wilson. I think that could happen again. I wouldn't be surprised here if the Cardinals win this football game, and this might be that dance partner for the Pittsburgh Steelers, teasing up from 2.5 to 8.5, is taking the Cardinals up from 2.5 to 8.5 over the Jaguars.
There's not many numbers that would say the Jaguars should be favored by 2.5 or 3 or over anybody, let alone the Cardinals, who are like an average team.
Well,
like
it's the Trench Report. The Trench Report loves the Jaguars.
And maybe that's the case. I mean, I'll say this. The reason the Trench Report might like the Jaguars is because they've done what they've done versus the second hardest schedule in the NFL. So you get those linemen against much easier competition.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it is close. But I think these are teams much closer than the line says. So I would look at the Cardinals. Although the Trench Report's kept me off some losers in the past, so I probably will pass again.
Yeah, I mean, the Trench Report has the strong advantage here for the Jaguars. They should control both lines of scrimmage, but really they have an advantage in the big advantage in the run blocking.
Yeah, when I say there's not a lot of numbers that most people have access to.
Yeah.
But you and me, we go a step beyond.
Well, Travis Etienne is questionable this week. I think Bayshell Tutin did show up on the injury report as well. Let's see if we get any update on Tutin. Limited in practice with an ankle injury. Okay, so him and Etienne both limited. Hey, the good news is you can just split time with both of them, right? You don't have to rely on one of them. If one of them gets banged up again, you toss the other one in the ball game. Let's talk about the Atlanta Falcons at the New Orleans Saints. Mackenzie, up on FanDuel, the Saints a 1.5-point favorite, total of 39.5, and it'll be the Atlanta Falcons without Drake London and Kirk Cousins at quarterback. And the market doesn't believe in this Falcons team missing their best wide receiver and Kirk Cousins now at quarterback.
Man, the Saints seem like too bad of a team to be home favorites. However, I'm not sure Kirk Cousins can play. I mean, he really can't seem to move at all. Maybe it's because, like Shedeur Sanders, he didn't get opportunities with the ones. He didn't have the game plan ready. He's been an average or a much better than average quarterback at different points in his career. Tyler Shuck has not been that. So it doesn't seem like Tyler Shuck should be favored, but I'm probably passing the game. How about you?
They just need to stop running in the pistol formation. Everybody knows the play that's coming when they're in the pistol formation, right? It's like 90% of the runs is like the wide zone from the pistol formation. Everybody knows it. This offense is stupid. Like, I'm sorry. Like, it's just it's everything from taking Bijan Robinson off the field in favor of Tyler Algiers in short yardage, and it's the obvious plays from the pistol formation. It's like there was one game, I think, I could be making this up, but there was one game I was talking to somebody, I don't remember who. This was a conversation, it was like earlier in the season, and they were saying, and again, I apologize if I'm completely fabricating this because it's been a while, but this just goes to show you how like stupid this is. There was a game where they every snap from the pistol formation was a run.
Right.
And every snap without the pistol formation was a pass. And it was like, I'm sorry, like, like the teams that are watching the game film of that game were like, yeah, every time they line up like this, they're going to run the football.
And the reason that they say they did that was because Kirk Cousins is not mobile enough to take the ball under center. Yeah. And it's tough to run out of the shotgun. It's a little easier, gives you a couple more options to run out of the pistol. Have Bijan Robinson with a running start. But if we know that, we're talking about that, and the defensive lineman knows that, and the middle linebacker knows that. So
maybe the Saints are the move here. Maybe the Saints are the move. The Philadelphia Eagles are at the Dallas Cowboys. Philly, a 3.5-point road favorite. Total of 47.5. Philly will be wearing their Kelly green throwback uniforms, in which I believe, Mackenzie, they are undefeated
How could you lose in that?
when
Can't.
wearing those uniforms. That's right. They are, I believe it is a perfect 5-0 or 4-0 wearing that. So they've never lost wearing the Kelly green.
I don't know if the Vegas market knows that because there's been a ton of money on the Dallas Cowboys. They were 6-point dogs last week at home in the look-ahead line. Played well on Monday night, reopens at 4.5. Nothing but Cowboys money. Now 3 minus 20 only for the Eagles, so 3.2. So many metrics tell you the Eagles are an average team, and then you say that and you look dumb because they beat whoever you're talking about by 3. Maybe not by margin, but by enough. So I don't think the Eagles are as good as 8-2, but I'm not betting against them. How about you?
So since the start of the 2021 season, you are an away favorite with a rest advantage. Okay?
Makes sense. Got to be good, right?
51-36 ATS.
That's 60-ish percentage, if my math is correct.
It's almost 59%. So yeah, that is that's where the Eagles are right now. But then again, was that Monday night game really stressful for the Dallas Cowboys? Was it stressful?
No, and it wasn't a road game either. Yeah.
The most was as far as travel is concerned.
Yeah.
But this is what the most stressful part about that game was that CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens missed curfew because they were at the tables at the Red Rock, gambling and having
Fine
dinner.
people at the Red Rock. Love the Red Rock.
We love the Red Rock, but and honestly, kudos to them for going off strip too.
Right?
Right?
Yeah, you shouldn't be suspended for that. You should get bonus money for that. That is a cultured couple right there.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like if you're on the strip, you're getting spotted. You know that people are going to be like,
Take a little drive down Charleston, beautiful views at sunset.
Like just like to go to Red Rock and play there and have dinner there, awesome. That's great. Good job. That steakhouse is really good, by the way. But that's where they were. They missed curfew. They got benched for the start of the game, and now that's the only thing that they had to worry about there against the Raiders. But I think they'll have their hands full here with the Philadelphia Eagles. Looking at the trench report for this game, this was actually let's see, is this a close matchup here? The Eagles let's look this up real quick. No, the Eagles had a slight advantage. It says moderate edge to the Philadelphia Eagles, but a competitive matchup. Eagles have a massive run game advantage. I will say, though, that ever since acquiring Quinnen Williams, we should change the grade on the Cowboys, and it did, because I looked at when I did the numbers this week for the Trench Report, the Cowboys' defense against the run did have higher grades this week and better numbers than last week's or the pre-bye week report, right? And and made sense. Look at what they did against the Raiders. Ashton Genty couldn't fall forward for a positive yard,
So the Cowboys have been a terrible defense, but against the run, they've actually been top. They're actually number 1 by opponent rush EPA since week 7.
Yep.
Top 5 over the season. So maybe that's what hey, we love Micah. We wanted to win by stopping the run.
You mean
so we
Michael?
made this trade.
You mean Michael? Michael.
Is that what he called him?
That's what Jerry Jones called him. Yeah,
Micah.
Michael. He called him Michael. We love Michael.
You have the right vampire creepy town.
We just know we gotta stop the run, and so getting Quinnen in here, he's really a guy. He's a run stopping guy. There's my Jerry. Let's talk Sunday Night Football, Mackenzie. That'll wrap up this week number 12 slate. It is the Tampa Bay Bucks at the Los Angeles Rams. Right now, the Rams are 6.5-point favorites, total of 49.5. Now, we saw Sean Tucker run all over the Buffalo Bills. He's not going to be able to do that against the Rams, and they're also not going to be able to do it against the Rams, even if Bucky Irving's back and he's healthy. This Rams offense and defense has been great. The Rams offense is incredible in run blocking. They're the number 1 run blocking team in the Trench Report. They're also the number 2 run defensive team in the Trench Report. And I think that for everyone talking about Matthew Stafford winning the MVP, for everyone talking about how great this team has looked this year, I actually think that the defense has been not talked about enough. This Rams defense has been awesome this year.
Yeah. They're number one in net EPA, with or without turnovers, either way you want to look at it. But it hasn't been just the offense. They've been they're the only team that's top 5 in each category. In fact, their defense has been slightly better than their offense in that metric, which I think is the best single metric for looking at the side of the ball. This question, do you agree with the market that the Rams are Super Bowl favorites, better than the Eagles, better than the Bills, better than anybody? Because I think they have the belt right now as who's the best team in the league. So I think that is consensus. The question is, how much do we trust Tampa? A lot of numbers will tell you that they've gotten a lot worse as the season's gone on. They also have, I think, the hardest. Sorry, I just had this pulled up. Yeah, the second hardest strength of schedule in the league. Their average opponent has been 2 points better than an average team by Netflow's numbers. They got another one here. I'm kind of more on the side that they're an average team, like their numbers suggest, but maybe they're better than that. What do you think?
We saw last week they went back and forth with the Buffalo Bills and then fell apart there in the second half. And then the
doesn't
fourth
look
quarter.
Quite as impressive as it did last week after the Bills looked to be more human.
I think we can have a similar case here. I think if you like the Tampa Bay Bucks, I'd go Tampa first half. Because Tampa might get the ball first and score, and then all of a sudden have a 7-0 lead. Rams tie it up, and then it's a back and forth first half until the Rams pull away in the second half. That's something that we saw last week against Buffalo. It could be a very similar game script here with the Rams and the Bucks. I'll say this about the Rams though. Whenever I am asked the question, and I had this conversation earlier this week on my college football show, when asked about who's the best team, right? Who's the best team? It's a convoluted question because you can answer oh, this is the best bet to win, right?
Right.
Or this is the team that is playing the best, right? Is the best team, or this is the most likely winner, regardless of the value on the number. The way that I like to answer the question is to say, which team do I have the least amount of questions about? And so if I look up and down the odds of teams to win the Super Bowl, and I'm just going to go with the top 5, okay? The top 5 odds here. And number 5 is going to be the Buffalo Bills. I have a lot of questions about the Buffalo Bills. I have so many questions about their defense. I'm just so many questions about the Buffalo Bills. The Detroit Lions. I have questions about their ability to go on the road and play outdoors.
Yeah.
I have questions about Jared Goff in a big game where he has collapsed against big opponents. I have questions about Jared Goff in cold weather. We saw it last week, wearing the sleeves, looking uncomfortable. I have a lot of questions. The Indianapolis Colts, I have questions. Can Daniel Jones do this in the playoffs? Is he really this good?
No.
What'd you say?
Short answer is no.
Exactly.
He's not this good.
Sure. And then what happens when they play elite opponents, which we've barely seen so far this year.
Right.
The Philadelphia Eagles are the second favorite. I have questions about the Eagles. Is the dysfunction real? Are there truly issues between AJ Brown?
What book is AJ Brown reading right now? I need to know. Are there
truly issues between Brown and Hurts? Is Kevin Petula over his head as an offensive play caller? What? I don't know. And then the health of their defense with the secondary. Yes, Vic Fangio is great, and we love it, and we love what he's schemed up, and the defense has played great over the past couple of weeks. But I do still have questions. I look at the Rams, and honestly, I can't think of a question that I have with the Los Angeles Rams. I really can't.
Yep.
Stafford is the MVP right now. Defensively, they're playing like the best defensive unit in the NFL. Devontae Adams is the best red zone target in the NFL. And Blake Corum has emerged as a 1A behind Kyren Williams, behind the best run-blocking offensive line in the entire NFL. And then you love the coach, obviously. So when you ask me who the best team is, and I say it's the team that I have the fewest question marks about, the team that I have the fewest question marks about is the Los Angeles Rams.
I think, by the way, that Stafford is the MVP, not only asking the question of who would have happened if right now, but looking forward, I think the voters are going to gravitate to him. Number one, because you love to vote for the best team. Drake May's having a great season. No one's going to say the Patriots are a top 5 team. Maybe some would in New England, but I don't think so. So you want him to put him on the best team. Number two, Drake May's going to have his time. Matthew Stafford's been criminally underrated for 2 decades. I feel like he's going to get his flowers this winter.
I think so too. Stafford is the
Plus
favorite.
125. I like it.
Plus 125 up on FanDuel, the favorite to win the Super Bowl. All right, that'll wrap up this episode of
The
Football
MVP.
Friday. Yeah, and win the Super Bowl MVP
Yeah,
too.
that's it.
Yeah, that'll wrap up this episode of Football Friday here on Better Day. My thanks to Mackenzie Rivers. My thanks to you guys, the audience. As a reminder, if you haven't heard the announcement or read the emails or gone on the website and saw the big red banner at the top of the website, subscription tiers are launching on Monday, which means that if you want to stay as a free member, great. You'll still get the newsletter. You can still go on the live odds page up on the website, which, can I just say real quick, that's so awesome. Our live odds page up on betterday.com.
Great work out of you.
Thank you. It took me a while to build it, and I was teasing a big announcement. You know, it's like every week I kept on coming on the pod and in the newsletter saying, stay tuned, more things are coming to betterday.com. Well, now we have it. But the odds, it's when you go to the odds page up on betterday.com, betterday.com/odds, it literally is the live odds. It changes throughout the game. Those are the live odds when you look at them. And the score pops up if the game's in progress. You can see the score right there on the board. You can.
There's no other way to access, let's say, first half bet faster than going to betterday.com/odds and clicking in and seeing all the derivatives in one place, live updated on your screen. 3 different books. Going to each individual place would take you 10 times as long than going to betterday.com.
Absolutely. It's all there for you. The derivative markets, the first halves, the first quarters, the first periods, the totals. And then here's what you do. It's like the website's a one-stop shop for you guys. You go to the NHL database or the NBA database. You look up some stats on the first quarter or the first half. You look up some stats on the first period. You go to the odds page. You look up the lines. You find your bets. I mean, the next step is just me taking your bets. But the thing is, like, I don't want to do that.
No,
like,
we want to bet with you.
We want to bet
us.
with you. We want to take the books money. So, yes, no, I do appreciate each and every one of you for joining us on this journey here at Better Day. And so, as a reminder, the subscription tiers are launching coming up on Monday. If you missed the announcement, you can see that up on betterday.com. Just click on the link at the top of that red banner at the top of the page. I did send out an email yesterday as well with the pricing information. So I'll put a link to that email in today's newsletter so you guys can just, see that pricing information that will launch coming up on Monday. And then also for the rest of this weekend, here's what we have on deck. Later on today, College Football Friday newsletter and podcast will be out. Jared Smith will join me once again to talk some college football. We'll break down the top 25 games for this coming Saturday. The props sheet will be sent out on Sunday morning like it was last week. It was like 16 and 18 last week or something like that. So lots of props that are going to be sent out. We will send those to you on Sunday morning. Our buddy Chris Dell, the Mad Journalist, our fantasy football expert here at Better Day, his website, bettingpredators.com. He's all over the props, so we will send out the prop sheet on Sunday morning. And, we're going to continue to send out the picks up on betterday.com. Now, this is the thing. The picks that we put up on the website this weekend, this is the last weekend that you will have to rely on going to the website and clicking on the picks page to see the picks. Now, the picks will always be up there, and the results will always be tracked there. And you could search by who's hot and who's not. I can tell you right now, Mackenzie Rivers is hot right now. Mackenzie in the NBA is now 5-2, right? He's up money. Same thing, Scott Seidenberg, myself, on a little hot streak right now. We last night lost our first college football game of the season. Well, not of the season, since we started tracking, each individual source here up on betterday.com. We are now 7-1 in college football. And that is picks from Steve Fezzik, picks from myself, picks from Josh Nunn. We lost last night with Arkansas State money line. That one bothered me so much. Mackenzie, they had the ball on the first off, 6 minutes left. They're down by 7. They got the ball on the 8-yard line. And they kick a field goal. Butch Jones says, I'm going to kick a field goal.
But they still need a touchdown.
But I guess he gave his team a chance to win, right? And he trusted his defense to get the football back, which, by the way, they did twice. They got the football back and then punted it, and then got the football back again, drove down to the 3-yard line, and did not get in from the 3-yard line. Stupid play calling. They took a timeout home with them, which I don't know what he's going to do with that timeout, but
that should be worth a half point. If it's tied but you have a timeout,
no. I mean that timeout would have been nice to use when there was like 50 seconds left in the game, because then like maybe you could have saved some time. But 3 seconds left, they're down. It was 6 seconds left. They're at the 3-yard line, and they throw an incomplete pass. 3 seconds left, and they get stopped on a running play at the goal line. So Arkansas State loses our first college football loss since we started tracking the sourced bets here up on BetterDay.com. But anyway, the whole point of me saying this is that this is the last weekend that you are going to have to go to the website, because part of our paid subscription tiers is access to our new Telegram channels, which means that every bet is going to get sent directly to your phone at the time of the bet that we place it. So there's a lot of times where Mackenzie and I will fire on bets the night before, because we're taking advantage of the lines that are popping up that we believe are going to move by the time these games, tip off or start on the next day. For instance, Mackenzie, his model's on an NBA game. He loves that team. They're -5.5. Well, Mac might fire on that bet on a Tuesday night, late night, to get ready for the Wednesday game. So you might get that text at, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. You'll wake up, you'll see that on your phone. And then what you should do is go ahead and bet it, because if you wait till 7 o'clock at night for the tip-off, that line might not be 5.5 anymore. It might be like 7.5. So you definitely want to take advantage. That's the whole reason why we wanted to have these Telegram channels, is because we know a lot of the times people are losing the best of the numbers. And that's so important. You got to get the best of the number. So by giving you the bets, as soon as we put them out, it's your opportunity to grab the best of the number, and that is going to start on Monday.
Seasoned pros, you might hear this all the time, say it is so hard to win betting sports on game day. Implicit in that is that it's much easier the earlier you get to these virgin lines, like we do in the NBA most nights.
Yes, absolutely. So you want to lock in, become a member, join us here on Better Day. Those subscription tiers will be launching on Monday. So you wake up Monday morning, you can go to the website and start to subscribe. Everybody's going to get a 7-day free trial, so you can see how it's going to work for the first week. And then next Friday, we'll have our first live Q&A. Steve Fezzik will join us for our first live Q&A. That'll be up for premium members only. So if you are a premium member next week, and again, you get the 7-day free trial, you're going to have access to that. So it's going to be a good time, and I think it's going to be a lot of winning for all of us here at BetterDay.com. For Mackenzie Rivers, I'm Scott Seidenberg. A reminder, College Football Friday newsletter coming out later today with the podcast as well. Prop sheet will be out Sunday morning, and here's hoping you make today and every day a better day.
AI agents are everywhere, automating tasks and making decisions at machine speed. But agents make mistakes. Just one rogue agent can do big damage before you even notice. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that helps you monitor agents, set guardrails, and rewind mistakes, so you can unleash agents, not risk. Accelerate your AI transformation at Rubrik.com. That's RUBRIK.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility, he knows keeping the line up and running is a top priority. That's why he chooses Grainger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Grainger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next-day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.